9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
Alrighty, folks, welcome to the Friday edition of the Daily Live Show. My name is Crypto Amaru. Of course, we got Nick, the Hitman, in the house as well as always. Little consolidation today. We said there'd be some volatility along the way to, $150,000, $200,000 plus Bitcoin. So a little bit of chop, a little bit of, consolidation here. Nothing to panic about. We'll get into some stories about why August historically has actually been a great month for Bitcoin and crypto. So nothing to worry about here, folks. We're chilling as always. Reminder, get engaged. Hop on the YouTube, hop on the X, ask a question, and get paid in surf tokens. It's as simple as that. Help yourself, help us, win-win. All right, so, we have had a string of just tremendous days, stacking really impressive wins over the past few weeks here on Bitcoin. ETH obviously up 100% in the past month or so. Today, a little bit in the red. We can take a look at the charts, but I woke up today and said, hey, nothing to worry about here. Nothing to see here, folks. Just another day in crypto. What do you got? You're muted, by the way.
Yeah, no, I was trying to open this. The sharing button always takes 2 clicks to get. This is the same thing that we've been sharing here, this bull flag. I even made a tweet about it. Oh, Nick, you're just making stuff up. Oh, look right here. I mean, literally, it's like my 3rd tweet down on July 30th. So before this breakdown even happened. Keep it simple. Upside target 132,000 to 133,500. Downside support at 114,650. That's what we bounced off of last night. 113,600. Or 112,275 to remain the bull case open. And now if we pull that up and look at where that is, the 114.6 is right on this 200 moving average, which we just bounced off of. The 113 level is off the bottom of this bull flag trend line. And then, of course, this is the most important line that I've been saying. This white uptrend line needs to hold for the bullish scenario to stay in play. That just happens to be right on the previous high and happens to be on the previous highs that this line was formed from. Also, the 300 moving average every day above it is trending towards that line. That's why I see a lot of confluence in this area for a bounce. And if we also look at what's the history of Bitcoin in August, well, let's look here. Well, Nick, look at all these red Augusts. Well, look how they're spread out. That's because 2013 was the top of the bull market, plus 30% in August. Then 1, 2, 3, 4-year halving cycle, 65% green. Then 1, 2, we even got a plus 2% in 2020. 3, there's the 4-year halving cycle in 2021, up 13%. 1, 2, 3, here's the 4-year halving cycle. That's why I'm saying that August is going to be green. If you believe in the 4-year halving cycle like most of you do, because we're one of the few people saying that the 4-year halving cycle is going to break for the long term, then you should believe that August will be green. If anything, history would tell us that the 4-year halving cycle means we'll have a slight red September, a cool off before the Q4 2025 euphoria in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins. So I don't think you should be panicking here. I think you should be watching the charts, watching Crypto Paradise, and figure out, hey, how do I dollar cost average? Or if I sold up here, where is a good entry? And somewhere in this circle here, you are going to get a good entry in Bitcoin. That's what history is telling you. That's what the TA is telling you. And I know Michael Saylor and all these other Bitcoin strategic reserves are chomping at the bit to figure out ways to raise capital by this dip.
That analysis. Shout out to Michael Saylor. Shout out to all you dip buyers out there. Look, nothing to worry about, guys. This was never going to be a, green every single day sort of bull run, because they never are. Every bull run has corrections. Every bull run has. I mean, this is we're only down 3%, so I don't even really know what we're talking about. Normally, you get these 20, 30% drawdowns, which by the way we've had like 4 or 5 of already in this run from $15,000 Bitcoin all the way up to 122. So 3%, red day, nothing to worry about. Look, will it hit that? What is that? 112 mark is what you're saying is sort of that really strong support. Will it hit there? I don't know. Maybe. And if it does, be ready to buy the dip. Or if it doesn't, just watch the chart unfold and things start to run again here. Probably the second, let's just look at the second week of August. I mean, it's probably look. Why did things break down today? Well, we also had some tariff news, right? This is completely out of the blue. This tariff stuff is finally getting resolved. I think Trump basically said, I'm sick of negotiating with a lot of these countries that are apparently not willing to play ball with the negotiations. He obviously got a bunch of deals done. Japan, England, or let's call it UK, EU, Mexico, Canada, sort of in flux, but mostly done. So he's done a lot of deals. And then there were countries that apparently were dragging their feet, or they weren't able to come to terms. And Trump said, "All right, I'm done with this. Your tariff is that. Your tariff is that." And so that's today. Today is that day of, okay, tariffs are in the news again. And then the market starts to wonder, oh, if inflation or this or that. So look, nothing to worry about. No panic here. You should not be panicking. This is such a minor little dip. It's funny we're even talking about it, but I just felt like there are probably some people that woke up, oh my God, is the bull market done? So that's why we titled this show the way we did. But I am so not worried here, man. I'm like the most chill you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting that Bitcoin is down 0.5% today. Ethereum underperforming, down 1.67%, but the Nasdaq is down 1.77%. So Ethereum and Bitcoin are still outperforming the Nasdaq, which is up here, gapping lower on some of this tariff news. And there was a job report today. They estimated that the U.S. would get like 140,000 jobs, and we only gained 70,000 jobs. So it is a miss. I don't really understand how the job reports work. Or, they're like, oh, you lost manufacturing jobs, but you gained this job. But, oh, we gained 80,000, but that's still super negative because we thought we were going to gain more. I don't look into that too much. The job data is always incorrect. It's always being revised. And anytime I see a positive on a line item, I'm not looking too negative. Okay, you thought we were going to have 140,000 jobs increases, but we only created 70,000 new jobs. Hey, that's still creation in my book. That's still okay. And I know, Trump's out there beating the horse saying, hey, look, job numbers are wrong. Too late. Powell should have cut rates yesterday because things are worse than we thought. So I don't know. I think I don't like a lot of government data. I just think all of it is manipulated. All of it is false. All of it gets revised. And it doesn't give me confidence at all when all these revisions always happen.
Well, yeah, no, the job numbers always get revised. My guess is these things are really kind of hard to estimate. Like, we're a massive country. How do you know every single job created, lost? I mean, it's estimates, it's guesstimates. They're doing the best they can. I don't think they're completely fabricated, but I think they're just imperfect. Reasonable minds can differ, though. So the way I look at that job report is, yeah, from a standpoint of the Fed and rate cuts, we've been saying this for a while now. The labor side of the dual mandate is looking shaky. It's been looking shaky. And that's, I think, in large part because, there has been uncertainty due to tariffs, due to big changes in the Trump administration, due to the immigration policy, due to this, that, and the other. And businesses have been a little bit wary to invest. Rates are obviously been high. That's hurting a lot of different industries, which then trickles and hurts job growth. So I'm not surprised we got a bad jobs report. And Trump's right. Powell is too late. He's going to be too late. They're always too late. And we said this on the show a few days ago, which is something is going to break, and they're going to have to move aggressively to cut rates because they've just kept things way too high for too long. And maybe this is the start of that, quote, breaking. So we'll see how the Fed responds. Remember, they don't make a move in August. So it's like we're going to get a lot more data between now and then, between now and September. But I think the two dissenters, the two people on the Federal Reserve Commission board or whatever who voted for a rate cut, they're going to be vindicated because I think in September the Fed's going to have to make at least a 25% basis point cut based on this jobs report. So look, tariff fears coming back. So, a job report. Are we in stagflation mode? look, the market is kind of like, the scared little kid. Just everything affects it. Oh my God, so emotional. Everything terrifies it. That's the market. So be smarter than the market. Be more emotionally resilient than the market. Don't let every day-to-day news story scare you and shake you out. Remember, long term, zoom out. Long term, the market is like this. Okay, whether Bitcoin, whether ETH, whether the stock market, it's all like this if you zoom out long enough and take a big enough view. So today, this is just a little blip.
Yeah,
I'm
and
not
what's
worried
interesting,
whatsoever, and
what's
we'll
in,
be back booming next week.
Yeah, what's interesting on this chart here is just gap down. This did reset the RSI indicator pretty substantially from overbought all the way down to near oversold. As you can see, as marked on this, every time we do get oversold indicators on the NASDAQ, it does mark a major low. What's interesting is these are multi-day declines to produce that. This is literally a 4-hour decline, and you're almost already there. So that does show that there is some quick chances here that this is short-lived. Maybe it's a couple days. It does suck today's Friday because the reason that sucks is although the stock market is closed, if we close red here, what that does is it on low volume weekends, that means Bitcoin and crypto probably continue lower as well if we do get a red close today. That's the downside to this, but this getting oversold so quickly leads me to believe that you could have major support at the previous breakout level, and this would be what we talk about on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a lot of those. You break out on volume to new highs or a new move. You do a retest back to the previous high. It shakes everybody out, and that's a bounce zone before you go up higher once again. So we'll be keeping an eye on this. We'll be monitoring this. Keep that in mind, though. If stocks close red today, low volume weekend, it's going to be tough for Bitcoin and Ethereum unless you have Michael Saylor and Sharplink Gaming and Bitmine really having capital to buy the dip. But a lot of them just deployed funds over the past couple days. So I don't know how much more capital they can raise in that short period of time.
From the crypto standpoint, you may be right. Let's see what happens over the weekend. But from the stock market standpoint, it's actually kind of good. If today was a fear-based sell-off on tariff news and stuff, look, by Monday this is old news. The tariffs are the tariffs. Like, get over it, people. And the countries that he imposed very high rates on are these inconsequential countries. No offense to them, like Myanmar or something. They don't amount to much in the global trade. It's not a really meaningful thing. I don't know. I guess it's more of a statement by Trump. I don't think these countries import a lot of goods in the U.S. anyway. So the countries that really mattered from a global trade standpoint, we got deals done with. And China we're still negotiating with, So the EU's done, Japan, I think South Korea we did. Like a lot of the major, I think Israel we already did. All the major advanced economies that we do a lot of business with, for the most part, got done. And yeah, the tariffs higher than some people probably hoped or wanted. Sure, I mean 15% seems like the standard. But my guess is by Monday this is completely old news. Everyone's forgotten about all the markets, and the media will focus on whatever news story is of next week. And by Monday we'll be ripping and roaring again. So yeah, let's see if we this weekend where we end up from a Bitcoin price standpoint. I'm not worried about it whatsoever. It's just a blip. It's just a moment in time. And historically, you just pointed out, August is on our side. And then Q4 is right around the corner, guys. I know we have another few months in Q3. But Q4 is right around the corner. October, November, December. And that's when you can expect fireworks. So, hang on to your hats here. Don't get shaken out on some little tariff FUD. This is going to be an inconsequential day in the grand scheme of things.
Look at that 2013 bull market. What a year. 30% in August, then you had a slight red September, 60% in October, 449% in November. And then people are like, well, not all Q4 is green. Okay, a 34% drawdown in December after a 510% rally in October and November. Jeez, what a time to be alive.
Let's just be honest.
And you also have 20.
Bitcoin was basically a meme at that point. Like
the 2017 bull market, you had the 65% in August, 47% in October, 53% in November, 38% in December. God, I love it. And you have 2020 here. You had a green in 2020 and 2021, 27%, 42 and 46. You had a 40% banger in October of 2021. This was an interesting bull market because you almost had the massive Bitcoin rally. You topped out. Then you had that drawdown from like 65,000 down to like 36 or 40,000, and then we got another rally that was less about Bitcoin. Bitcoin did make a minor new high to like 69K, but it was really all about altcoins on that second wave. So interesting times.
Well, those were fun times, weren't they? I mean, my goodness, that bull market was crazy, and absolutely, yeah, we had a big crash in the middle of that year, right? I think it was in May when Bitcoin crashed, ETH, altcoins, and then recovery and everything went bananas towards the end of the year. And even last year it was looking pretty good, right? With the exception of December. But last year, I mean, the Trump trade, everything was going crazy. So, look, Q4 is your friend. Just keep that as kind of your North Star. I would hate to see people shaken out and then we have another tremendous Q4 and it's like got left in the dust. So just have these historical precedents in mind. Just remember what's coming. Remember your price targets. Remember your strategy. And days like this should not concern you whatsoever. So yeah, great little tweet there from yourself. What else do we want to cover today?
Look, we don't have a position in Pangu, Pudgy Penguins, but I've been listening to the founder. I'm telling you what, he's banking on Q4 as well. So if you look at this chart here, we were airdropped Pangu. A lot of you probably were. People in my group were heavily airdropped it because we participated in that sector in previous cycles. Airdropped it and we sold it up here at like $3.7 billion market cap, and it just absolutely plummeted. This is what airdrops do. Down here, I was live with Nate and also in a Discord saying somewhere down here is going to be a low on this Pangu thing, and never really got an official buy. This was one of the biggest fumbles because you can see the rip and roar gave another sell up here on this rip up, and it just continues to go higher. Now it is resetting. I'm watching Pangu. Now it isn't down here. It isn't some micro cap anymore, but he's putting a lot of money into it. You see Pangu taking over. You saw Thomas Lee change his PFP to a penguin, a pudgy penguin. So, let's keep an eye on this. Let's remember that in the back of our head. In Q4, they're going to deploy millions of dollars to market Pangu token and the Pudgy Penguin IP. So let's try to get ahead of that wave. Let's hope this thing resets. People get bored. Maybe we come down to this yellow line or this red line at some point, and we should probably take a trade position here in Crypto Paradise leading into Q4.
Pengu is a reminder that, man, brand, attention, just IP, that's the real currency in crypto to a large degree. Obviously, tech matters a little bit, utility, okay, sure. But I mean, how else do you explain the phenomenon that is Pudgy Penguins, right? It was a NFT collection, and now it's a token. I don't know if there's utility behind it at all. Maybe the utility is okay. You hold this to get more airdrops in the future or something. But to me, it's mostly about just that attention. It's about that branding. I guess the founders themselves. How driven are they? How aggressive are they in their marketing? It's a reminder that when you start to see like the next Pudgy Penguin. Oh, everyone's talking about this thing. Oh my God, this is everywhere. And you may be skeptical of it first. That's a natural sort of reaction I think a lot of people have when they start to see something pushed in their faces from every direction. But usually that's the next coin that does like a Pepe type returns or Pengu type returns because the whole crypto space knows about it.
The goal is
the attention space. So don't fade the next Pengu. That's for sure.
Yeah, their goal is to flip Doge this cycle. So, I don't know. Here's the buy zone of opportunity here. If you look at the fib levels off this, first of all, this looks like a giant rounded bottom for a cup. Maybe you're working on a handle. If the handle plays out, you're looking at a 50% to a 61.8% fib retracement, which will put you right in this zone. And look at the confluence there. That would be right in between the 200 moving average and the 300 moving average. So, we're going to put this on the chart here live. And I'm going to try to keep an eye on this and see if we can scrounge up some fresh capital to get a buy. Now, will we get this full retracement or will we get left behind? We'll have to wait and see. But look, crypto trading, investments, anything is always waiting for the right entry. There's a million opportunities, and I'm not going to force an entry into Pengu just because I think it might do good in Q4. All right, so I have the Q4 thesis, but if it doesn't get down low enough over the next few months, maybe we just don't get an entry. That's just the name of the beast. There's other opportunities to look at. But if we get down in this zone and we are getting closer to Q4, that gives me more confidence in taking a position in Pengu, especially considering we sold our airdrop up here and we sold another bag over here during this consolidation. So we'll see what happens. Pudgy Penguin IP is going to be all over the place.
Pengu and similar types of projects in the crypto space. Those with large war chests, right? Pengu has a massive war chest. I don't know how many millions worth of NFTs they sold. They probably have massive bags of Pengu. They probably have great market makers. They got money. And when you have money and you're also smart and you're a crypto degen, you have means of sort of, let's call it painting the chart. You have means of deploying capital exactly the right moments to sustain uptrends, to make people want to buy in, to make the chart look pretty, to make people like Nick and his group say, all right, it's a buy. So I'm not saying that they're going to deploy capital at the right moments. I don't really know. That's pure speculation. But I'd rather be investing in something that has a bit of a war chest and is, crypto native degen than, a company that, oh yeah, we make money, but we're never buying back tokens because, that's against the rules or whatever reason they have. So I again don't know if Pengu will deploy capital at the right moment, but I wouldn't be surprised if like as soon as a certain level is hit, a certain support level, boom, they just buy a shit ton of Pengu and start that next uptrend.
Yeah, he's on the record after this airdrop down here. He still bought early, he said, but it was right around here. He said he deployed like $5 million. He thought he could hold price, and then after that gave up, he just said, hey, you can't always hold price. Let the roundabout happen, and now things are moving. But yeah, they're deploying capital in a big way. They're going to be launching a mobile game. They're going to be adding more utilities to the NFTs. They said he's been hinting at Q4 is going to be a massive year, and they're trying to flip Doge. So, look, I can't believe we're talking so much about Pudgy Penguin and Pengu because I don't even own a bag right now, but that's why we're watching it. Here's the buy zone of opportunity. Thanks for tuning in live.
I have no bag. Yeah. You know me. I don't buy into coins that are already at multi billions. But in any event, shout out.
And talking about war chests, we know that the liquidity web on Pulse Chain produces DAO funds. Here's PTGC. This is the resistance levels up here. You're going to see major support coming down here a little bit lower, and they have, I think, 1 billion PLS. So when do they deploy? We shall see. We see this rally. We see us getting rejected off this uptrend line, so I wouldn't be surprised if this comes down for a C wave. So A down, B up, C wave down, and you come back down here somewhere in the high 6,000s. And of course, then they'll probably do buying and burning to try to support the chart and keep the momentum going. And then on a smaller side, I wouldn't call it a war chest, but the Surf DAO does have something like $5,000 built up, and the No Expectation Wallet has something like $10,000 built up. And what have we been talking about? This bullish falling wedge here, breaking out, a retest. Now we need to get going. Of course, Pulse Chain is down, so you're fighting and you're swimming upstream. But I wouldn't be surprised if the DAO deploys some funds for a Surf buyback and adding to LPs on the dip, meaning they can buy PLS cheaper, PLSX cheaper, Teddy, PDI, whatever they want, and also buy the discount on the Surf token. If you see here, look at my drawing. Rounded bottom, up, expect a volatile retest, and then a move higher. What's this? Rounded bottom, up, volatile retest. Now you move higher. I don't know. Maybe we should deploy the funds. Now, it's not a war chest. It's not going to paint the chart and send it to new all-time highs, but supporting prices at levels that matter make a lot of sense, and I think the DAO will see that as well.
Shout out to you DAO members. Absolutely. We are about to host a poll today, probably in the DAO group. Remember, 200,000 Surf to get in there or more. About when to deploy that capital that the DAO's accumulated and what to buy along with Surf to pair and thicken up liquidity. Should you guys want to do that, or maybe hell, you just want to buy it and burn it. I don't know what you guys want to do. In fact, little teaser. We just got word from the dev. The burn dashboard should be ready by next week. He's finished it. I guess he's testing it. We're going to need to test it, and my hope is it'll be fully deployed by sometime next week. And so that's going to mean that with a click of a button, we can burn Surf tokens anytime we want, and then that is going to actually show up on your pulse scans and your other trackers. So you'll actually see, hey, 200,000 Surf burned right then and there. Great social media marketing, great for speculation, great for existing holders. So that tooling is nearly ready. So we'll see what the DAO wants to do. Look, I wouldn't mind building up the quote war chest a little bit more. Like, I'm in no rush. To deploy that. So let's see what the DAO says. I mean, it's gaining funds every day. More people are buying in. Some JEETs are selling out. Either way, volume is created, money is generated, goes to the DAO, and then the DAO can decide what to do. So burn tracker coming, and we'll send that poll in later today or tomorrow to you DAO members. So that should be good. I want to circle back to a project which I saw you go over real quick. You passed over it real quick, and that is Fuck 9 to 5. Fuck 9 to 5 project we've been involved with since really like day, let's call it day like 5 or 10 of their existence. We obviously felt a lot of synergies between the Crypto Paradise brand and vision and the Fuck 9 to 5 brand and vision both really are about using crypto, using blockchain, using memes, using tokens, investing to escape the doldrums, the 9 to 5 existence, your shitty desk job, your shitty, job, doing whatever you do out there. Use crypto to better your life. That's really what both of these companies and these brands are setting forth. Fuck 9 to 5 is doing it a little bit differently, I think, than a lot of memes. A lot of memes, they rely on raiders, and they rely on just doing spaces. They rely on, just people within the Telegram to try to hype it up, whatever the case may be. But Fuck 9 to 5, what I love about what they do and how they approach things is they're always kind of taken to that next level, right? And they just announced, I think it was last week, their $5,000 giveaway. It is, I think, the second or third giveaway they've done of this nature. But basically, all you do is create social media content that's aligned with the Fuck 9 to 5 brand. So that could mean you're holding up a post-it note that says "I quit." It could mean you're, driving around in your car yelling, "Fuck 9 to 5." You take a video of yourself. It could mean you're out there on the beach, right in the sand. Fuck 9 to 5. Whatever. There's hundreds of ways to use your creativity and do something to sort of say, hey, I'm over the grind. I want something better for my life. And they're giving away $5,000 to the people who are engaging in this contest and in this sort of creative, let's call it a creative contest. So, wanted to give them a special shout out. Nick will go over the chart here in a minute, but this $5,000 giveaway, I don't see that happening with a lot of memes, right? Most memes are kind of, just doing the basics. And what I love about Fuck 9 to 5 is they're going well above and beyond, and that's why I think, they're going to continue to do well here, even though they're in a bit of a consolidation.
Yeah, just give me 1 second. I'm actually entering a VFriends competition, trying to get some VFriends cards. We've talked about them, and they have an NFT collection that's doing very well, but I'm trying to win some physical cards. All right, we are entered. Let's look at the Fuck 9 to 5 chart here. This is actually a Pump Fund success story. It's very rare that you see charts like this with this little Pump Fund icon on here, but this one is there. This one made us a little hesitant at first. We probably could have got in Fuck 9 to 5 even a little earlier, but we let it build up. We got involved at a whopping 300,000 market cap. I think they approached us at like 150,000, but we were weary, so sorry we didn't get you guys in earlier. But what you got you in all the way down here, 300K market cap. It's ripping roared up to into the 4 millions. Had this dip, and right here at 2 million market cap, we did another video saying, hey, this is the opportunity to buy. I think a lot of things are coming. It absolutely exploded shortly after the video, 1 day after, and now look what is happening. It is consolidating right back on top of this last range. You want to make this range a new floor. They are trying to do that in the face of a red market. If they continue to create this rounded bottom here, above here, or in this consolidation, that makes a new floor. And then you head higher once again above 8 million towards a $10 million target, which is just a major overhead resistance for a lot of meme coins. You're going to see sellers up around 10 million. That's just the nature of the beast. Now it's how you react after that. If you can maintain a good floor and make it higher than this, say it's 6 million or even 8 million market cap, that's when you break out of that ceiling. When meme coins get above that 10 million mental barrier, then you are off to the races. Now I'll stop people stop limiting your upside potential, and they look at you as a bigger mid-cap play. So that's what we like to see out of Fuck 9 to 5. Hopefully they keep grinding. They make a nice rounded bottom floor here. We head up to 10 million and can break above it. So they can get on the movement coin sector train with the likes of SPX 6900, DJI, all these other ones, and really make it to the mainstream. It would be nice if Superman talked about it again, but obviously the end game is to continue to reward early investors, continue to build this community, and who knows, maybe one day Marab himself will add Fuck 9 to 5 to his movement cult coin list in the near future.
Yeah, I think it's well on its way, right? And they're doing everything right, man. Like, I love these community contests that they're doing. There's still a bunch of influencers supporting it. I do think more will be coming online in the near future. So, to me, it's really, let's maintain the positivity. I know there's a downtrend right now, no different than when there was a last correction, right? But, let the sellers out. let that consolidation play out, and the market forces sort of realign, and you start to see Sol running again, ETH, Bitcoin, start to see them running again, and all of a sudden you're back above that 8 to 10 million mark. So just a matter of time for Fuck 9 to 5. They're going to keep up the good work, and we'll keep monitoring, supporting them.
Yeah, look at this one. We went ahead and talked about this one yesterday. I made a tweet about it as well. Looking to break out above resistance. We were live here. It did, in fact, do a breakout. And then here is the retest. Obviously, you want to hold around this level. The market is red, so it might be a little tough. But this is a perfect breakout and retest. If you can hold around this level, then you're off to the races with an upside objective towards 64 to 65 cents for the X token. Continuing to try to give you guys some long-term ideas, but also some short-term trade setups. And obviously, we want volume and price appreciation for X because it is the third largest liquidity pool with the Surf token. Yes, third largest liquidity pool with Surf is X Protocol, and it's only at a 3 million market cap. So what do you think the impact would be if, say, X even gets to 30 million market cap? Well, that would do a lot of wonders for volume and for price appreciation of the Surf token as well. So we are rooting for them, but from a trader perspective, we are looking for a breakout right around here. Breakout occurred, retest, and now you want to head higher in the short term. So we will see what happens. Hopefully this isn't a multi-day downtrend on crypto, Ethereum, Pulse Chain, and stocks. We also see Coinbase. I saw somebody mention it on our Twitter comments saying, oh my God, I'm getting wrecked on Coin. Well, then you're not following along because we actually had a sell on Coin at 396 and 25% at 360. It is now gap lower to 319. I went ahead and bought this right before the live stream at 326, I believe. So you got to start listening. You got to be willing to let go of some of your bags. You don't got to go all in and all out. Look at this strategy, 25% out of time because you're buying it down here. So it's okay to take profits and win on the way up. And then when you get full resets, then you start to get back in. So 25 to 50% buy here. If we continue lower, or buy another 25%, another 25%, and you'll be back fully invested. That's how you do it. That's how you do it in stocks. That's how you do it in crypto. You don't need to be all in and all out on any given trade. You're never going to pick the exact low. You're never going to pick the exact top. The goal is to get profits in the bag when you're making moves. And over time, that's how you grow your positions.
The thing about Coinbase, the reason it's down a little bit, I think, outside of just general market weakness is I guess they missed some estimates on profits or something this last month or quarter or whatever. But if your theory is similar to our theory, which is that Q4 is going to be explosive, and that people, retail investors particularly, will be heavily investing back and trading into the crypto markets in Q4. Well, Coinbase makes a lot of its revenue from retail traders, right? And they just opened up their futures platform, the perpetuals platform. So that's not going to slow down, but you need retail to drive that, right? So, but if the theory is, hey, retail's coming in Q4 or even maybe sooner than that, I think retail's slowly peeking its head out a little bit already. My guess is, you're gonna start to see Coinbase beating its estimates throughout Q4. So, a little blip on their radar, but still a very, very profitable company, very successful company. What price did the stock go public at? Where did it start trading at? I think it
actually started trading right around these levels. That's why I have this fib level up here, because if you look back in history, it IPO'd right around these levels.
Oh wow, did it? Oh okay, I thought it IPO'd like 10 times below where it's at now.
Nope. This is when the public could get in here. Even look at the first day. Some people even on the first day when this thing opened paid like $430 a share.
Jeez.
So,
Jeez Louise. Okay. Well,
that's why if you notice, look at this chart. Didn't touch this thing until down here. Until June of 2023 when you're around $50. That's when I started playing with it.
Well, you know what? So, I mean, Coinbase stock is more or less a proxy for the rest of the crypto market. Like if crypto's in a bear market, Coinbase stock is down. If it's in a bull run, it tends to go up. So, I don't own any coin. I just own actual coins. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and alts, etc. But for those who kind of like a proxy, I mean, to me, it moves. It's similar to a proxy for the crypto markets. Crypto is more active, more retail. Coinbase tends to do very well. So
yeah, and let's look at the numbers here from a TA perspective. Nick, why did you buy back 25 to 50% this morning? Well, first of all, when there's big gaps like this on what I think is going to be a mainstay in the sector, and it's an S&P 500, I'm going to get some exposure back. I was sweating a little bit when we had these sells as high as 396 and this thing was still rolling. So now it's coming down. It's down like 17% from this sell up here and 10% from this sell. I'll grab back a partial position. But the other thing to look how quickly this thing has come back to oversold. Look how long, look, oversold down here. That's why we were buying. And then you had the bullish divergence on a new low, higher RSI. That's why we bought again. So, it's getting oversold quickly. You have the 200 moving average trying to cross through the 300 moving average from the lower side, which is a bullish indicator. You want this yellow line to cross through this red line from below to tell you that this is a bullish indicator. Yes, this is a lagging indicator, but that's how you find your position. And then I also like that the technometer is going from overbought and it's back to neutral. So no screaming buy here. That's why I'm not 100% long. But when you get big gap downs like this on what I think is going to be a mainstay, you go ahead and grab it. Then you were talking about the earnings a little bit. They had an earnings surprise. They beat earnings by 311%. Now, the downfall was the revenue was actually $90 million less than what it was supposed to be, a surprise of negative 5.68%. So on the forefront, yes, the post-market did sell down Coinbase, but what is exemplifying or amplifying the sell-off is the fact of this tariff FUD and that the NASDAQ is down 2% today. So that's why we went ahead and grabbed some. Also, keep in mind, you hinted at it. In traditional markets, the earnings report are on a 1-quarter lag, meaning this was for the period ending in June. When did retail and altcoins really start to run? At the end of June and in July. So that means that their next earnings report, if things continue to heat up, Ethereum continues to outperform Bitcoin, retail's coming back, they got the predictive market platform coming, the revenues are going to be up for the next quarter reporting. There's a 3-month lag. They have not participated in this mini alt season and this ETH outperformance. That isn't reflected in this earnings reports. That's not how traditional markets work. So you got to think to the future. That means the next earning reports, they'll start seeing this Ethereum dominance going up. That's when that money should be reflected, and that's when you should beat it.
The ETH only started to run in July.
Exactly.
And you better believe there's a lot of people running Coinbase and trading again. I started to do some trading, mostly some sells. But, nonetheless, they make fees on that too. So, Coinbase is going to do fine. I'd love to see it break above its all-time highs. I'm very surprised that it has yet to do that. So, to me, there's still a lot of upside to go if you do believe this is going to be a mainstay.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy. This was in the 20,000 top in this is actually April 2021. I thought this was the $20,000 top when Coinbase was released, but I guess not. Maybe this doesn't have all the data. I don't know.
Height of that bull market. I remember.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. And my wife was like, "Should we buy some?" And I was like, I don't know.
IPO, I mean, look, the Circle one or whatever worked out. If you would have bought that at opening, you would have made money. But normally, IPOs
that one launched very undervalued, apparently, right?
Well, it launched undervalued in terms of they had perfect timing. They launched that thing, and then Bitcoin was mooning and Ethereum was mooning. So I think that's
Perfect
a proxy
timing.
of good
Perfect
timing. Yeah,
too.
exactly. Same thing applies for altcoin launches. It's the same thing. But normally, especially in traditional markets, IPOs aren't a great deal to begin with. I mean, Snap went straight down into the right. Chart looks just like this. So be careful. There's a lot of sharks out there looking for their quick gains. If you think the pre-sale market is full of sharks and VCs here in crypto, traditional markets, I mean, look at this. Holy cow. They say, we're going to raise at $1 billion, then it turns to 10 billion, then 50 billion, and then you're buying.
All the early investors and insiders dumping on retail for years. Meanwhile, Brian Armstrong looks laughing all the way to the bank with his billions.
I wish Brian Armstrong would have bought more Bitcoin and Ethereum when they first started. They would be in a much better position. They did just add more Bitcoin to their books this quarter. That was another announcement. They bought another like 200 or 300 million Bitcoin and added it to the books. But, that will always be a what if. What if Coinbase actually hoarded more Bitcoin and Ethereum? Because until this past year or two, they owned virtually zero. Now, a lot of people say it's because of regulatory clarity. They didn't want to have that on the books. It would have made it harder to be listed on the stock exchange, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of what ifs there because they've been around when Bitcoin or ETH were very cheap. And now as far as Bitcoin strategic reserves and Ethereum strategic reserves, they are way behind the 8 ball. So now they're just using it as like, hey, this is our business, this is our revenue, and don't forget, we own 1.2 billion in Bitcoin now, and we own 500 million in ETH, and we're trying to add to those positions slowly but surely.
Big missed opportunity for them, but again, laughing all the way to the bank. I don't think they really care. So, you read some interesting articles recently about, those early market participants. What's happening right now, I think, from sort of a big picture standpoint, is you have guys who are buying in Bitcoin. 2013, we showed you the 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. Charts or the months when things are outperforming. There's guys buying Bitcoin when it's like $100, $200, $500. Those are the guys selling right now. and it's moving into the hands of Wall Street investors. Basically, that's the story of this cycle. Think about what's going to happen, though, in the next, say, 3 to 5 to 10 years. Those early investors are out. It's no different than your meme game, right? It's just, early guys buying, and then, maybe some bigger whales come in, they buy theirs, the smaller shrimps bags, and so on and so forth. That is the story of this cycle. So just think about where we're going to be in a few years when all the Bitcoin is controlled by the likes of Michael Saylor and all these Wall Street types. Their their time horizon is multi-years, multi-decades even. So I think we kind of have to get through this sort of early buyers, they're selling out and coins are moving into the hands of Wall Street. And to me, it's up only from this point out. It's really, to me, like that's kind of this story that's happening over the past few weeks, and we saw it happen with the guy who sold 9 billion. Apparently, there's a bunch of others that are kind of offloading now, early whales, and good for them, good for them. But I'm just happy that money is finally moving into the hands of Wall Street types who tend to be multi-decade type investors rather than your standard retail.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting. This was the 9 billion sell here, and we went back and went back up to the even higher than when he was selling, and then now we're having the sell-off. But just shows you how tied Bitcoin is more to the traditional markets. Traditional markets having a little bit of spook and a scare, some early investors selling off. But, I mean, really, when you zoom out, nothing here hasn't broke the bull flag that we drew, up at these levels, and we'll monitor the levels we talked about earlier in the show. A reminder, that's right on this yellow line, that's on the green line, and then the more important one is down here over $112,000. So we shall see. 3% dip on Bitcoin, yet everybody on Twitter, I mean, it's trending. Where is it? See you in 4 years is trending on crypto Twitter. People are saying, okay, that was a fun bull market, see you in 4 years. But the funny thing is, if you say see you in 4 years, that means you still believe in the 4-year halving cycle, which isn't over until the end of Q4 of 2025. So they're kind of talking in hyperbole, or maybe they're doing it on purpose. I'm not really sure. But it is crazy how quick the sentiment shifts in crypto. A 3% drop, and now everybody's saying the bull market's over. Pretty wild.
Well, we still got some bear market PTSD I think we're dealing with. And this is what always happens, right? Like, okay, we have a multi-day bull run. Okay, we're going to $1 million. We have a small correction, and it's going to zero. That's just the nature of a lot of what happens on crypto Twitter, I guess. Maybe it's for clicks. Maybe people really do feel this way. I think it's completely ridiculous and misguided. But that's why hopefully you guys are not, watching these mainstream influencers, and you're tuned into the likes of Crypto Paradise. We're giving you the real talk, the long-term, multi-year mindset, not the, oh my God, day to day is the world's coming to an end. I will say one thing. You know who's loving this chop and these corrections and this consolidation? The folks at Frontier Fund. And for those who missed the interview we did with Brown Cowboy, who's the founder of Frontier Fund, or maybe missed Nate's kind of recap hype video, check the interview out and check this short form video out. The Frontier Fund is absolutely printing, and this is the kind of market conditions that they really feast on. Kind of range, predictable range, small 3-5% moves. That's when they really make a lot of money and do quite well. It's the black swans. It's the big, massive moves that came out of the blue, Musk and Trump fighting on Twitter, Israel bombing Iran, those kind of unexpected events that really shake the markets. That's when it struggles to perform well. But this little chop, man, this is when these guys print and eat. So we're making about 1% a day, on our Frontier Fund investment. I'm very happy with it. 15% a month net to investors. You invested $10K, and every month you're making about another $5,000, and that compounds over and over and over. And we're doing real well. So for those who are looking to get into round two, you need 400,000 surf. It's that ultra exclusive opportunity. You can check out the surf website for the tiers. But round two is opening, I think, next week. And I know there's a lot of people readying their capital. We're getting a lot of questions. But this is the kind of environment that Frontier Fund really does well in.
Yeah, so I'd watch the short form video here that Nate did, or you can watch our full interview, which right below that. It's just scroll down a little bit. Posted about 18 hours ago and 12 hours ago. You can learn more about it, learn more about the trading strategy, what's the minimums, how do you get involved. Again, this is round 2. Technically, it's round 3 because they had a beta round. They had a round 1, which was made up of a 30-day period, then a break, then another 30-day period. And right now, we're in a bridge period, which they actually have a round going on, which is up in the green. And then the official round 2 will start here in a week or so. So you need to get 400,000 surf, and then you can have capital between 3,500 up to as much as 50,000 to go into the fund. Obviously, there's limited slots. They're capping it at 1 million. Right now, the fund is over. It's somewhere in between 500 and 600,000 already. So there's only about 400,000 more that could be added to the fund for round 2. So 400,000 surf gets you in, guarantees you a spot, and allows you to put a minimum of $3,500 into the fund. Again, their goal is 2% a day. Right now, they're over 1% a day. It's like 1.55%. And that means 15% a month for you after fees. Can't really beat that for letting somebody else do low leverage trading on your behalf. So check out those videos, learn more, get involved. Obviously, there's a lot of people that are trying to get to that level.
You're not doing anything. It's the greatest feeling, right? You're
Yeah,
just like,
the
oh,
way
wow,
that
how
I
nice is this?
the way that I look at it too, it's like, all right, you put 10,000 into this thing, and yes, Nick, well, alt season's coming. Ethereum went up 40% in the month. It's like, yeah, I did go 40%. Did you buy the exact low and then sell the exact top, and can you replicate that month after month? Probably not. So yes, we're looking to make 10xers and 5xers and 100%ers and make 50% gains on Ethereum just like you. But that isn't to say that with a portion of your money, let's do for simple math, you take 10,000 and you give it to the Frontier Fund, and poof, you don't even worry about it except for every 30 days whether you're going to reinvest it or not. Hypothetically, based on historical returns, that means that you'll have $1,500 a month in profits. You can roll them and compound it. You can take $1,500 a month as newfound income for yourself and your family. You can do a combination of the both. That's up to you. But I know a lot of people off a 10,000 investment, leave it and forget it. Wouldn't mind $1,500 a month in extra income on their daily life. You know, that's like getting what's the math on that? Another $17,500 a year. Imagine your boss comes and tells you you're getting a $17,000 raise next year. I think you'd be pretty happy. So that's kind of the math that I've run now. There's no guarantees of returns, but this has been going on now for 6, 7, 8 months. These are the returns after that period. And the 15% that we saw in the last round was actually lower than the beta round as well. So let's keep that in mind and upward and onward. And hopefully the Frontier Fund continues to print for us in the bull market, in the bear market, and get you guys some more passive monthly income to the bank account.
Yeah, that's one way to approach the Frontier Fund. For myself, degen that I am, just keep it in there, right? I have income from other sources. I don't necessarily need, that money to pay the bills. But if you invest simply $10,000 and they're earning 15%, you're earning 15% a month. After 12 months, you'll have $53,000. Not bad at all for not lifting your fingers. So little chat GPT math for you. But, do what you will with this information. This is not without risk. It's still trading. There's still, risks of drawdowns. They've definitely taken some losses at times. It's not always, rainbows and sunshine. And sometimes, you're a little nervous. You see Israel bomb Iran, and you're like, oh shit, I hope they weren't in a long. So those thoughts do run through your mind. It's definitely not for everyone. But hey, with your portion of your portfolio, and if the market is acting more or less predictably and trading within a range, it does very, very well. So, you're sharing your screen. You doing a little grok math over there?
Yeah, here's the grok math. If you put 10,000 in and compounded it, just kept rolling it, and they kept producing the 15% net of fees, well, you're looking at $56,571 after 1 year. After 3 years, $1.8 million. After 5 years, $57 million. After 10 years, $33 billion. Now, I don't know if they can run this thing for 10 years or allow you to keep that much money in it. This fund would probably be sold as a hedge fund somewhere at that point. But nonetheless, even if you say 12 months from now, so this would be the rest of this bull market and potentially the start of the bear, if you compounded it at 15%, and 15% has been their lowest producing months, that 10,000 would be 56,571. That'd be quite a nice investment for you. Or it could be, $17,500 in profits and income if you took that profit out every single month as well, whichever way you like to see it. That is the power of compounding interest, and that is the power of passive income opportunity with Frontier Fund. 400,000 surf or more to get you in the fund. Of course, there's risks involved, but why not have a portion of your portfolio being traded by professionals, being traded with low leverage on Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum while you do your thing in the trenches? You watch Crypto Paradise, you try to get long-term positions, you try to get passive income. Let some of the portfolio work for you, and at least that's a guaranteed, not a guaranteed, but an opportunity at monthly income that you can do other stuff with, or dollar cost average into the assets that you like.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is it's kind of tough to find opportunities right now. Alts have still been lagging. I mean, yeah, we've had a handful of big winners. I mean, we talked about Fuck 9 to 5. We've talked about Dose, the substance. We've talked about Kaiken. We've talked about Mellow Man. We just had the one with the spaces yesterday. So we've had winners over the past months, but it's been few and far between. It's nothing like middle of last bull run where everything was just running like mad and you invested in a pre-sale and it did 100x, just 50 times like in a week. Nothing's that easy anymore in the altcoin world. And so to have an opportunity to sort of say, all right, I'm going to diversify a bit. Maybe you're not going to abandon the meme game completely. Maybe you're not going to abandon hunting for low cap gems. That's where you can get those 10 times returns in a short amount of time if you get a little bit lucky. But to me, having a bit of diversification, a bit of a consistent sort of, all right, maybe a little less risky and less difficult, frankly, right? Sort of part of your portfolio. I think it does make a lot of sense. So shout out to the Frontier Fund guys. Definitely watch that video if you haven't. I thought it was very illuminating, especially if you're participating or thinking about participating in it. Definitely want to watch what Taha had to say. So good stuff there. Any other topics we wanted to hit today?
All right, I think we really kind of covered everything. I'm looking on the Twitter feed now to see if any breaking news has happened, but I'm not seeing anything. Joseph Lubin actually just posted this. I haven't even read it yet, so we'll see. It might be a nothing burger. I'm going to share my screen and be like, okay, that was nothing. We built something beautiful, and now it's available. The collaboration between MetaMask and Lena Build is a pivotal moment for emerging crypto class who is living and working on chain. This Lena is going to be a scaling solution, a layer 2 for Ethereum, but they're actually going to be burning Ethereum that they earn. Not all of it. I think it's like 25% of the revenue. And expect it to do pretty well because as Joseph Lubin, the co-founder of Ethereum, backing it, now they already got a partnership with MetaMask. But why he is pushing Lena so hard is because he does believe that it is going to be a massive scaling solution. But also he wants to use the opportunities on Lena, the DeFi opportunities, to take the SharpLink Gaming Ethereum Strategic Reserve to the next level, utilize a portion of it on Lena, and earn passive yield to do what? Buy more Ethereum for SharpLink Gaming. So we'll see how it all plays out. Instead of doing leverage, he's just diving deeper, taking some risk with DeFi yield, but has massive upside potential. And of course, we're rooting for him because that just means he keeps buying more Ethereum off the market, which pumps your ETH bags and pumps your altcoins.
Total Chad. I love that the interests are aligned between all his various entities. Do we really need another, layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum? No, we do not. No, we do not. There's like 50. You really just need Ethereum, in my opinion. Okay, sure. Well, let's have one or two L2s if you want to do, super fast, super cheap transactions. Fine. Do we need 45 of these chains? No, we do not. But this one, I don't mind this one, right? Because at least it's siphoning some value back to ETH, the mother chain, and the main token that we all have. So, shout out to Joseph Lubin. Good work on SharpLink Gaming as well. But I just think the space is somewhat a little bit silly. You see new L2s pop up seeming like every week, and it's just like, come on, do we really need this? Is this solving any problems? Like, no, it's a money grab. But I don't think Linea is going to have a token, so that's good news, right? It's kind of like base chain in that sense.
I don't know if anybody saw the new Coinbase ad, but Brian Armstrong says we weren't allowed to run this ad on TV in the UK, but that's fine. We can just share it online. That is very true. And the reason the UK, what's kind of crazy is, number one, read into that. Isn't allowed to run this ad on TV in the UK. The United Kingdom used to be the biggest, the most prosperous civilization known to man. And now they are just imploding on themselves and stomping on your right at freedom of speech. Number one. Number two, this ad just goes hard on the UK, shows you how the UK is falling apart, how their citizens are getting absolutely shit on, both in the monetary policies and on their refugee policies. And that's probably why they didn't allow it to air. But I would recommend you go watch this. I know people that are in the UK are either going to be butthurt, or you can take a look in the mirror and realize how big a shit on you are being on by your country. Because if you think inflation is bad here in America and the fiat policies are bad and blah blah blah, UK is still living with it. They didn't vote for somebody to come here and try to fix it with tariffs and blah blah blah. So I mean, that's pretty bold strategy by Coinbase, especially considering, they're already teetering on legality over in the UK as a platform. So they're definitely trying to stick it to the man here. Give it a watch. And for the people in UK, hey, look, you're running out of time. You better stand up, or otherwise you're going to lose your culture, you're going to lose your country, and your financial system is imploding from underneath your feet. So buy Bitcoin, vote differently, and pull your head out of your ass. Because when you got major companies trolling you like this, it's gotten bad.
Well, the Brits I know, the ones who are in the crypto space, are very disappointed, and maybe that's a too nice of a word to use, with their government. So I think you're probably preaching to the choir if you're talking about those who live there but are within the crypto sector, right? Because what's interesting and sort of a shame, it seems like crypto, Bitcoin, blockchain technology, etc., it's become another partisan issue. And it's like, because Trump is for it, because certain Republicans are for it, well, the Democrats have to be against it. Okay, conservatives are for crypto and Bitcoin, so liberals have to be against it. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of, because crypto is for everybody. That's not a partisan issue, right? It's important to have self-sovereign money, right? That's whether you're conservative, liberal, black, white, red, green, doesn't matter about any of the identity stuff. Crypto is important for the world. And it's just a shame that it's become so partisan, because I think places like the UK are just reflexively like, oh, well, conservatives are for it, so we're going to ban it. We're going to make it hard for our citizens to own crypto, and we're going to want to monitor them and whatever the case may be. So, kind of an unfortunate development that I'm happy that Trump came out so pro crypto, but then the backlash on the lib side is, okay, we have to be against. It's like, come on, think for yourself for once. You don't have to love something just because a certain politician is for it, or hate it because the politician is for it. Like, think for yourself, or don't have an opinion. Just say, I'm not educated enough. I don't have an opinion. That's okay too. So it's just kind of a shame what's happening in the UK, and also in the left here in the US. But yeah, for those I know in the UK who are in crypto, they're not happy with their government. Let's just be honest.
Well, they need to get loud, and they need to get out there, and they need to do something. It's bad. I mean, if you want to get in the weeds on something different than just crypto, go look on YouTube. Go look up European refugee crisis. Look at UK. It's a shithole over there. I feel bad for them. And remember, they're a much smaller country, so it impacts them much more rapidly, and that's why they're directly getting affected on the financial side as well. A lot of tax dollars going to house these individuals. But nonetheless, a lot of bangers here on the feed, so we were going to end this, but I guess we got to talk one more. I'm just scrolling here, and there's banger after banger. Truflation just posted this 45 minutes ago. Huge drop in inflation. With inflation at this level, there's no excuse to postpone cuts. Well, they already happened. Now we got to wait till September, unless they can do emergency cuts, which is very unlikely and hasn't happened in a very long time. Powell needs to put his ego aside and act now. Inflation was just above 2% and sitting there. This is why people thought, hey, there's a possibility of cuts, because we were just floating in 2% for quite a while. Well, after that, the BLS reported rate was 2.7%. We know the government numbers are always shit and always late. Truflation just fell down to 1.67% in the past 2 days, updated as of August 1st, 2025. Massive inflation drop. I'm going to dig into this data, and maybe we'll do a short video. I wonder what on the index caused such a rapid decline. What have you heard anything? Do you know if oil's down or housing's down or any product is down to drive this kind of inflation drop?
It could be housing. A lot of the inflation numbers, I think like 30%, are based on housing figures. So it may have been housing. I doubt it was goods. It's probably not going to be goods. Services would be the logical conclusion, or housing. So I'd be curious about what's causing this drop, and how did they determine it happened so quickly. I mean, my understanding is you don't normally have a massive drop off so quick. That's kind of an unusual thing, right? So we'll be curious to know what data they're pulling that from. But yeah, I mean, we've been saying this for a while, that the economy is on shakier ground than people think. The job market's on shakier ground than people think. Inflation's not as bad as the Fed is painting it out to be. There isn't really inflation beyond their 2% target, and this, I've been calling it phantom inflation, that they're worried about because of tariffs, is just simply not going to appear outside of maybe a few sectors within just the limited sector of imported goods, right? Because remember, inflation is it's a lot of different numbers from a lot of different categories. It's not just goods. and only some goods are imported, and only some goods are imported from countries that have high tariffs, and only some companies decide to pass those extra costs on to consumers, and only sometimes the consumers say, okay, I'm still going to buy that good anyway at that price. So the whole thing is fugazi in my view. But here we are, 1.67 real-time data. Real-time data. Let's see what happens. And to me, is this one of the things that does this break the Fed, or are we gonna have to see a couple more terrible job reports come out before the Fed decides to say, you know what, we kept the rates too high for too long. My bad.
Yeah, what's interesting is, this is looking at the past 6 months. So since February, essentially since Trump was inaugurated, the Fed said, hey, we need 2% inflation to cut the rate. That's one of the milestones. I mean, since he's been in office, it's been right around 2% or less. Here's 2.2%. Look where you're at. Here's 2%. Look how often you're at or below 2% during this period. I mean, this phantom inflation, this fear of, oh, well, tariffs, tariff. I mean, anybody with any economic person who isn't political, you can look at previous times in American history when we had tariffs and when we raised tariffs, and then look at the implications of inflation, and it doesn't exist. So I don't understand. We've been saying this for months. The data is showing this, and they keep leaning on it like, oh, tariffs can cause inflation. Well, sure they can. If you wait long enough, I'm sure at some point there will be inflation. But how long are you going to wait? A year? You've already waited 8 months now, and we've been sitting at or below 2% inflation.
Energy prices play a big role, and those have been down. Oil prices have been down. You go to the gas pump now, filling up, and I do get premium, I have to admit. But even my premium,
oh, fancy car.
Even my premium gas at Costco is like $3.25. It's a beautiful thing. I'm like, when are we going to start to give Trump his flowers? I get it. There's a lot of people that don't like his personality and whatever he did in the past and whatever complaints you have. But gas prices down, stock market up, crypto up, war in the Middle East basically done. All the wars resolved. Okay, the Russia thing he hasn't quite gotten to yet because Putin is refusing to end that war. But, like, what more do you want from the guy before you say, you know what, you've done a pretty damn good job? Perfect isn't the standard, by the way.
Some people you can't ever please. Anthony Scaramucci, you're a scumbag. You're one of them. So, I mean, that's a big pundit. No matter what happens, it could be United States hands out $1 million to every citizen, and he'll make a condescending post about it.
Well, he got fired by Trump, so there's some ego
exactly
going on there with that guy. So I don't want to take him seriously.
I will say not every scumbag has stayed a scumbag. Como, or whatever his name was, a big, CNN guy, then got fired, whatever, and he was a big lib, anti-TDS, anti-Trump, Trump derangement syndrome. He's even making short-form videos now saying, hey, look, I've been wrong in the past. I've been wrong about politics. I'm wrong about inflation. Wrong about this. So, hey, some people do have half a brain, and it's not saying you have to say, you come out and say, I love Trump. I don't love everything Trump says or does. I just chose that would be a better route for my personal situation and for the country as a whole. But when there's individual things, like you said, inflation, when you're looking at oil prices, when you're looking at egg prices, when you're looking at the border crisis, why can't you just say, hey, I didn't think this was going to go well. It did go well. Let's keep it going in this direction. Hey, maybe my Democratic nominee should replicate this and keep this, but get rid of X, Y, Z that I don't like from Trump. That's what I want to see. That's how the country comes back together. And that's, quite frankly, how financial markets continue to go up and to the right. When the country is prosperous, your investments will do better. So let's keep that going. Just a little positivity from those who are pessimistic and everything.
To me, it's critical thinking. You don't have to love everything Trump does or anything any leader does or anything that we do. You don't have to love us, but you can say, you know what, Crypto Paradise does more things right than they do wrong. I mostly like these guys. I like what they're doing with the surf token. I like what they're doing with this, that, the other. So, okay, I'm backing them. No one's perfect. No one's perfect. You don't have to like everything, and we're all going to have different opinions on these policy matters. But I think, on the whole, Trump's did a pretty damn good job. And I just remember when everyone was jumping down his throat when the tariff fears and FUD first materialized. And I was guilty of it too, by the way, because I was pissed that the market was crashing and I didn't want my avocados to become more expensive. So, I was guilty of it anyway. But now I can sit and say, you know what? The strategy apparently worked. I didn't think it was going to work, but it did. And let's give, we can be critical, but then give people credit where credit is due. So it's just, to me, it's about critical thinking. It's about not being too caught up in your own, partisan BS, and just say, you know what, some things the other side can be good, and that's just all it comes down to.
The Paradise Pump is underway. Bitcoin back to $115,600 right off the first level support. So you're not out of the neck of the woods yet. This could be a B wave up before a C wave down. But we talked about a major support at 112,500. So let's see. Hopefully we don't even make it down that low. Ethereum kind of doing the same thing. Had a big run back up to 3650 after falling as low as 3569. You really don't want to take out the previous low below 3515. But even if that happens, there is an uptrend line there that can save you around 3400, and we can continue to work higher. The one thing I will say about Ethereum is much less economic power is needed to pump that thing once again, and you do know that Ethereum strategic reserves are there. So just like Bitcoin on the way up, you saw a big sell-off and it kept grinding and kept working higher and higher and higher. I think the same is true for Ethereum at this point in time, because you have Sharplink Gaming, who still needs another 500,000 ETH minimum. You have Thomas Lee, who needs another 500,000 ETH minimum, and you got some new players coming into the market that are also wanting to buy Ethereum. We also saw Coinbase buy another 200 million worth of Bitcoin. They did not announce an Ethereum buy. That is how they've kind of done the order of operation. Buy Bitcoin first, then their next buy will be Ethereum. So I'm sure that they're going to be buying another 15,000 or more Ethereum in the coming days as well.
Ethereum's undervalued up until it's broken its all-time high, and then it's okay in price discovery, and then we can say, all right, is it really? But to me, like, the network is stronger. All these institutions, the ETFs, the staking on the ETFs is coming in, I believe, October, or maybe even sooner. That's on the docket for the SEC. They've gone out and basically said as much. So Ethereum is undervalued, especially relative to Bitcoin at this moment in time. Whether it's 3,650, whether it's 3,800, whether it's 35, I don't care. It's undervalued right now. And it's just a matter of time before it reaches previous all-time high of 4,800, and we're at that 5,000 level, and it's price discovery euphoria. And then you can start to question whether buying in at that moment in time is a wise decision. But for now, to me, highly undervalued, and I'm just looking forward to continued adoption, continued positive news. I think we're in a bull market, whether people want to believe it or not, and it's going to persist for a while longer here. And I think August is looking good. We'll see about September. September tends to be a little shaky, as you mentioned, but then October, November, December, going to be explosive as they always are. End of the year, I think the Fed will have cut rates at that point. Powell will be on his way out. The Trump policies, I think, and the tariff fears will be fully behind us. And, golden age of the bull market. Here we come.
Yeah, right on cue. Sharplink Gaming posted 12 minutes ago. Ethereum is becoming the base layer for trillion-dollar digital economy. It replaces institutional trust with open and verifiable code. We are still early. Sharplink SBET. There you go.
I love it. Bull posting, promoting their bags. That's what we love to see. But they're right. I mean, we're at the forefront of a digital economy revolution here with sort of a trustless ecosystem being built before our eyes. And, Ethereum still, what is it, $500 billion market cap or something like that, maybe the 25th, 24th most valuable asset in the world, has a ton of upside left to go here. So, yeah, not worried at all. Just, watching the market do its thing and enjoying a Friday. So I do have to jump off here onto a call. Actually, I have about 1 minute, but we're going to be back live on our X in a few hours here. I believe 1 p.m. Eastern. We're doing a Chill and Chill Spaces, so I hope to see you guys there. And until then, guys, we'll see you on the beach.